I made it to my very first NHRA drag race, and it was something else. I am used to going to like dirt track races where they are just going in circles for a while. Instead of so I just wanted to share with you a couple of different takeaways that as a dirt track fan I had experiencing my very first drag race show. So in between races, they have to obviously do some maintenance to the cars. Well, these drag racing cars, the Top Fuel cars and the funny cars that I'm speaking to specifically here, they have to rebuild the engine. So they take it apart completely and put it all back together after like replacing little things here and there and cleaning it, I guess. So the reason why these teams have to take apart and then rebuild the engine after each race is because the engines are just pushing out like 11,000 horsepower really quickly. That's a lot of power very quickly. And so they're doing that by burning anywhere between like 15 and 17 gallons of fuel per race. And mind you, per race, they're racing for like 3 to 4 seconds. Miles an hour. And so these engines are so powerful that just sitting there idling, for every 12 seconds, they're burning a gallon of their fuel. And their fuel smells terrible and it sticks in your nose for quite a while, but then you kind of get used to it and then you kind of have a headache. But I imagine the people like this guy, that dude's used to it. So then when they're going full throttle, they're burning 3.5 gallons a second. So that engine's doing some work, and it completely makes sense why they have to like take it apart and put it together every time. That's like next level maintenance, because I'm over here like, I should probably go get my oil changed. The tires I thought is kind of interesting. So those tires get more use than I thought. So they burn enough rubber when they warm up their tires to get traction, and then when they like take off, that they literally, NHRA can justify having somebody stand there with a flamethrower. But what I think is most funny about the flamethrower situation is that at some point in history, somebody was like, yeah, you know what? I think a flamethrower will do. Before I get to my very last takeaway, I want to thank Caleb Cox. He is the team manager for Cruz Pedregon Racing. I've known him since junior high, and he was kind enough to just answer all my questions about this stuff, because I'm sure he's answered it millions of times before, but he made time for me, and I appreciate it, because not everybody like has somebody come and film them and then talk to them during their work shift. So that was cool. But my last thing is just kind of more of a, has nothing to do with the racing at all. It has everything though to do with Mello Yello and their marketing. So like NOS Energy Drink sponsors a lot of dirt track racing. Well, NOS Energy Drink will like give you a whole can of it.
I got a little something extra now. Just giving these out up front. Nitro mango, let's do this.
And they'll let you pick what flavor you want when they're just handing out samples. This is a sample. Mello Yello was just handing out like a true sample. I don't know why. I don't know who made the decision to just pass out a little teeny tiny bit, but I'm like, y'all are spending millions of dollars, I'm sure. Maybe not, maybe. Let's just say thousands for the sake of it. Why not just give out a can of pop or soda, whatever you want to call it, and just, I don't know. I just thought it was funny to see all this money being poured into the sport, and like the samples they give out are just true little plastic cup samples. Overall though, aside from all my pettiness towards Mello Yello and their cheap marketing budget for having quality samples, I'd say the only thing I would do differently would be I'd figure out how to go about getting a media pass just to have access to like all of the infield-ish parts. I guess I'd like to get like slow-mo of the tires warming up and of the flamethrower guy, and I had limited access, but it was my first time going. Now I know what to expect, and so I'll see about getting a media pass next year, if that's even a possibility. I feel like since it's such a premier event, you probably have to know somebody, which is totally understandable. So, yeah, anyway, I will probably catch you at the next race, which will probably end up being a dirt track race.